When I pulled into the gravel drive of the villa, I noticed the balloons first. Pastel. Soft pinks and yellows. A cartoon stork taped to the gate. For a second I thought I had the wrong day. Maybe the event before mine had run late. Then I saw my sister's name written across the welcome board in looping gold letters. Baby shower. Not my name. Not congratulations on your new home. Not even a hint that I had spent $4,000 on this place for tonight. I stood there longer than I should have, keys still in my hand, listening to the muffled laughter inside. When I walked in, the music didn't stop. No one gasped. They just looked at me like I was late to something I already knew about. My mother spotted me across the room. She was holding a glass of something sparkling. She smiled. Surprised? She said, loud enough for people nearby to hear, "You won't do anything about it anyway, so just shut up and enjoy it." There was light laughter. Not cruel. Not kind either. The kind that assumes a script. I scanned the room. My coworkers were there. The realtor who helped me close on my house. 2 of my neighbors I'd invited so I could start building something normal and adult and mine. They looked confused. Some avoided eye contact. One of them mouthed, "What's going on?" On the far side, my sister sat in a decorated chair, hands on her stomach glowing. She looked genuinely happy. She gave me a small, uncertain smile. I realized then this wasn't chaos. It was coordination. My mother had always been good at that. I felt the familiar pressure in my chest, the instinct to smooth it over. To tell myself it didn't matter. That it was just money. That my sister was pregnant and I was single and stable and fine. Fine had been my role for years. The reliable one. The accommodating one. The one who would understand. My mother stepped closer and lowered her voice. "Don't make a scene. This is important for your sister. I paid for this," I said quietly. "And," she replied, almost amused, "it's still in the family." Something in me shifted, not violently, just firmly. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I walked back outside. The air felt colder than it had 10 minutes ago. I pulled up the contract on my phone and called the number at the bottom. The event manager answered on the second ring. "Hi," I said. My voice sounded steady, which surprised me. "I'm the contract holder for tonight's booking. It appears the event has been altered without my authorization." There was a pause. "I'll be there in 5 minutes," he said. When I walked back in, nothing had changed. My mother was telling a story. My sister was opening gifts. Someone had started a guessing game about baby names. I stood near the back, silent. 5 minutes later, the villa's event manager walked in with a folder in his hand. He was polite. Professional. Calm. He didn't raise his voice. "Excuse me," he said, projecting just enough to shift attention. "May I speak with the contract holder for this evening?" The room quieted. My mother looked at me. I stepped forward. "That's me." He nodded and opened the folder. "According to our agreement, this venue was booked and paid for under your name for a private housewarming event. We were not informed of a change in event type or host." He turned slightly toward my mother. "Who authorized the conversion of this event?" My mother gave a tight smile. "It's all family. There's no issue." He didn't return the smile. "There is an issue," he said evenly. "Liability, insurance classification, and catering contracts are tied to the declared event. Unauthorized changes place the venue at risk." The silence that followed felt heavier than any shouting would have. Guests shifted. Someone coughed. He turned back to me. "You have 2 options. We can immediately restore the event to its contracted purpose, or we can terminate the booking and clear the premises. The decision is yours." Not my mother's, mine. I looked around. At the pastel decorations. At the stork. At my sister, who suddenly looked less certain. At my mother, who seemed genuinely shocked that the script had unraveled. I thought about hosting my housewarming in this room now. About standing under someone else's banner while pretending nothing had happened. "No," I said softly. "We'll terminate." My mother's head snapped toward me. "Don't be ridiculous." But it wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was almost desperate. The manager nodded once, understood. Within minutes, staff began quietly dismantling the event. Catering trays were covered. Decorations came down. Guests started collecting their bags, murmuring awkward apologies to no one in particular. There was no spectacle. Just process. My sister approached me near the exit. "You knew?" I asked. She hesitated. "Mom said you offered. That you wanted to do this for me. I let that settle between us." "I didn't," I said. Her face changed, not into anger. Into something more uncomfortable. "Oh." My mother tried to pull her aside, but the manager gently stepped between them to discuss final paperwork. Authority has a strange gravity. It doesn't shout, it simply holds space. As guests filtered out, he handed me a revised invoice. Because the event had been terminated early due to unauthorized alteration, the majority of the payment would be refunded. He also mentioned, professionally and without emotion, that future bookings under certain names would require direct confirmation from the listed payer. A small thing, but not nothing. Outside, the parking lot emptied. My mother stood by her car, arms crossed. "You embarrassed this family." "I considered that," I said. "You assumed I wouldn't mind." For once I didn't stay to absorb her reaction. I got in my car and drove to my actual house. No balloons, no catering, no guests. Just quiet. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The air smelled like fresh paint and new wood. Boxes were still stacked in the hallway. The kitchen light hummed softly. I sat on the floor in the living room. The house was silent, but it didn't feel empty. My phone buzzed. Messages from my mother, from a few relatives, some accusing, some confused. I turned it face down. For the first time, the silence felt chosen. I didn't win anything tonight. There was no applause. No triumphant speech, but something fundamental had shifted. Not because I punished anyone. Because I stopped cooperating. And when I looked around at the walls I paid for, the floor I chose, the space that was finally mine, I understood something I hadn't before. Reclaiming yourself isn't loud. It's administrative and irreversible.